The 2026 season will see a massive overhaul to the technical regulations. New engines will power cars that will be shorter, thinner, and lighter than the current crop of vehicles. With new regulations comes a chance for any team to make a leap forward in performance and shock the sport with their speed. The FIA wants to stop teams from developing for the new regulations too quickly though, and have introduced rule changes to stop that. There are also going to be some big changes to the calendar that has fans very disappointed. Today, I'll cover all of that and more. F1's next major engine regulation change will take place in 2026. The last big engine change was in 2014, where Mercedes found by far the best solution, with a split turbo being the standout feature that differed from the rest of the engine suppliers' designs. Mercedes' engine was actually so good that year that they had to manually turn down its power output for most of the 2014 season because they were worried the FIA would be forced to make rule changes to help the rest of the teams catch up. For the 2026 engines, the regulations are designed to be more transferable to the changing landscape of production cars, incorporating more electrical components and renewable fuels. It seems F1 plans have appeased the manufacturers, with Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault, Honda, Red Bull, Ford, and Audi all set to be on the grid. With the automobile industry centering itself around electric power, it's no surprise to see that the MG UK unit will now be 3 times more powerful than before, moving up from 120 kilowatts to a motor generator with 350 kilowatts. On a similar note, the MG has been removed completely for the 2026 rules, allowing for a reduction in costs. The MG was far too expensive and complicated to ever make the transition to production vehicles, and was stopping a lot of new manufacturers joining the sport. They will be run on 100% sustainable fuels, with there being a clear 50-50 split between internal combustion engines and electrical power. Finally, the aim is for only 70 kilograms of fuel in 2026 rather than the 100 kilos currently. That reduction in fuel requirement is going to help make the cars much lighter, along with the changes to the aero regulations. The current F1 cars weigh an astonishing 798 kilograms, with the new engines and countermeasures expected to take it well above 800. The first step is to reduce the weight by at least 20 kilograms before looking at reducing it further into the regulation cycle. Other changes include the width of the cars reduced to 190 centimeters from 200, and the wheelbase will be shortened to at least 340 centimeters from 360, which it is currently. There is also an expected loss of downforce reduced by about 40%. This is a massive swathe of changes and will undoubtedly cause a massive shift in the respective rankings of each team, as some find the best solutions, while others miss the mark completely. With so many changes coming, some teams had been considering stopping, or at least reducing, the development of the current generation of cars early and turning all their focus to the 2026 car instead. This would mean that a team could stop developing their car halfway through the 2024 season and instead start developing their car for 2026. With the budget cap and a limit on how much testing teams can do, you could gain a massive competitive advantage over your opposition by using your budget and aero testing allowance from 2024 on the designing of the 2026 cars. The other effect would be that the competitiveness of the sport for 2025 could be completely destroyed. If Red Bull are dominant again in 2024, the rest of the teams may decide early in the season that it isn't worth fighting them anymore and just keep the same car for the rest of 2024 and 25. Essentially letting Red Bull win in the hope they can make an amazing car for 2026. On the flip side of that, Red Bull might decide they're so far ahead they don't need to pay much attention to the current regulations and turn some or all of their focus to the 2026 car instead, giving them a development advantage over the rest of the grid. Clearly, this was going to cause a problem for everyone, so the FIA have stepped in and ensured that everyone starts development on the 2026 cars at the exact same time. Following an agreement at a recent F1 Commission meeting, teams are not allowed to undertake any wind tunnel or CFD work for the new spec cars until January 1st, 2025. A similar arrangement was made ahead of the last big rule change in 2022 as well. While the technical regulations for 2026 have not been finalized, the teams already have a good understanding of what direction will be taken and could start experimental work in preparation for the finalized rules. F1's technical regulations will remain unchanged for 2024 and 2025, but the development restriction was ratified to ensure that no team gains an early advantage over its rivals before January 1st, 2025, when everyone will be free to work on their next generation designs. The sporting regulations now state, in order to prevent testing which aims to develop for the 2026 season, from the 1st of the 12th, 2023 until the 1st of the 1st, 2025 inclusive, RWTT, which stands for Restricted Wind Tunnel Testing, may only be carried out using a scale model that substantially complies with the 2023, 2024 or 2025 F1 technical regulations. A similarly worded article in the rules also bans any 2026 CFD simulations until the end of 2024. Just before I tell you all about some other changes to the regulations that are coming in, I wanted to let you know about a really exciting project we've been working on at F1 Reverse. Later this month, just before Christmas, we'll be releasing a 3-hour feature on the complete history of Formula 1, covering the drivers, teams, technical developments, and best seasons of each decade. We think it's going to be incredible, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. The 2024 F1 sporting regulations also introduced several other notable changes. The alternative tyre allocation has been scrapped, and the number of days allowed for Pirelli tyre testing has been increased from 35 to 40. Additionally, the teams can now conduct tyre testing throughout the year, rather than being confined to a specific period between the first race and December 15th. Furthermore, the regulations incorporate 4 dedicated days for an FIA project focused on reducing spray during wet weather races. This initiative stems from an unsuccessful experiment conducted at Silverstone in July, and the designated testing days aim to refine the spray reduction techniques and enhance driver visibility. There are more big changes coming to the sport outside of the technical regulations in 2026 though. Formula 1 is reportedly on the verge of announcing a new street circuit in Madrid as the host race for the Spanish Grand Prix from 2026. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya has hosted Spain's F1 race since 1991 and was previously an annual base for pre-season testing, which is now usually held in Bahrain. However, F1 chiefs are set to revamp the sports scene in Spain with a new street track around Madrid's IFEMA Convention Center, next to Real Madrid's training ground. Barcelona has a contract until 2026, but F1 has registered trademarks for the name Formula 1 Madrid Grand Prix. There is always the possibility of having 2 races in Spain past 2026, but it is widely believed that that would be incredibly unlikely to happen. The report adds that Madrid would have a 10-year contract from 2026, though how and why the final year of Barcelona's deal with the sport might be wiped remains unclear. One possibility is that there would be 2 Spanish Grand Prix in 2026. Spain has hosted 2 races in a single season in the sport's recent history. Alongside Barcelona, a street circuit in Valencia around the docks hosted the now defunct European Grand Prix from 2008 to 2012. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali revealed in March that Madrid officials were indeed working on bringing a race to the city. They're working to bring a race to Madrid, Domenicali said. F1 is delighted to have so many contenders because it is becoming more and more popular all over the world. We know the passion in Spain. I've worked with Fernando Alonso and I know him well. It's a pleasure to see how the interest keeps growing in Spain, also for Carlos Sainz. We know the interest from Madrid, the same from Barcelona, and it's great news for us. There's historical precedent for F1 racing in Madrid. The city last hosted a Grand Prix in 1981 at the Llama circuit. However, the new venue promises to be a modern and dynamic addition to the F1 calendar. Not that fans are overly excited about it. The increasing number of street circuits have not been received well by the majority of the fan base. Generally, street circuits allow less overtaking and racing, though the recent Las Vegas Grand Prix did buck that trend slightly. The concept of a Madrid circuit has been in the works for some time, with Formula 1 and Liberty Media spearheading this ambitious project. The layout, which had been defined even before its public revelation, was designed to be citywide, incorporating the pavilions of Madrid's main fairs and the City of Sports, home to Real Madrid. The total length of the circuit was projected to be around 5 kilometers. However, the reveal of the circuit layout sparked controversy, particularly over a roundabout included in the design. This detail left motorsport fans puzzled and led to significant debate. In response to the fans' reactions, a new layout proposal was quickly released, excluding the controversial roundabout feature. Do you think the moving of the Spanish Grand Prix to a street circuit in Madrid is a good decision? Or should the race stay at its historical home near Barcelona? And what's your opinion on the 2026 testing ban? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.